good to be back. It's good to be back. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of LANCESCURV. Yes, this was unexpected, right? I like to sometimes just pop up out of nowhere unexpectedly and make the agents have to chase me. They go, oh man, I got to get back out here again. That's how you have to do it. You have to move covertly and all over the place. What you might announce may not be what you're going to do, and what you don't announce may be what you're going to do. In this world, we have to really understand that that's how things go. Even those of us who may not be in certain lanes where we feel that our freedom is compromised, because all of our freedoms are compromised. There's no freedom anymore, yo. Well, let me put it this way. Many of us think we're free and we're not free. I'm not here to tell you that, well, you're not free, right? You'll find that out. You'll understand that as your consciousness grows, because as your consciousness grows, and I mean true consciousness, aware of who you are in this universe and in creation, not consciousness for people who are just on the level of race, where they say, well, as a black man, I'm conscious. There's so much more to it than that. Beyond all of that, when you understand and begin to understand your relationship with the universe, with the creator, with all things beyond the cosmos, this is just a small speck of dust. And whatever we learned here is just a little bit of what we are yet to learn in this journey in our lifetime and in other levels. Really and truly, when you think that way, it takes the pressure off of so much that can make you feel pressured on this level. The things that make people jump off a bridge or put a gun to their head and pull the trigger, just commit suicide or eat themselves to death or drink themselves to death. You understand that there's so much more, and you need not worry. It's really a thing where when you see the attacks on you and you see why in the broader scope of things, you relax more, because you know at the end you're going to be the winner. You see, that's what it's all about. It's not a win-lose type of game. All I'm saying is that, you know, when you pull back the scope and see the broader picture, if you go to the beach and lay down, face down in the sand, and, you know, just 1 inch away from the ground, the sand, that's the beach to you, right? You don't see the water. You don't see the boardwalk. You don't see the sky, but you're at the beach. Somebody else laying on their back will see the sky. If they can't move their eyeballs, they'll just see the sky. Some person standing up facing the water will have a different experience. So the one who's face down will say, you know what? The beach is sand. It was boring after the first 3 minutes of being there. I can hear water, what they say, but I just saw sand. The other person on their back is going to say, I just saw the sky, right? That's all the beach is to me. The person facing the water is going to say, you know what? I see the water, but the person in the water facing back in has a total experience, because they're in the water. They're seeing the person looking out who never felt the water. They're seeing the person looking up who never saw the water. They're seeing the person face down on the beach who never saw the water, saw the sky, or anything. He can only hear what they tell him is water. So understand on this level of consciousness. I even hate that word. I hate to say hate, but you know, people who are on a lower vibration can get a little smarter, right? And say, well, you know, I'm growing in my consciousness, but you're still in a lower vibration. It's all relative. I have no need to wonder where your level of vibration is, because I have my own. Now, when I vibrate in a similar fashion to someone else who is on a level relative higher to that lower vibrational person, I can vibe with them. And if I go up a little bit in my consciousness, which I say I don't like that word, well, guess what? I'll pull them up if they're really about being that. But you're going to learn in this lifetime that most, they're not interested in that. Most are just interested in hearing themselves talk, lording over those who may not be as high of a vibration as they are. And see, high vibration, again, is all relative, right? I mean, you could be really of a lower vibration. Let's just say you're at level 100 and they're at level 2. Well, the level 1 people are going to look up to the level 2 people and say, wow, what you're saying is profound. Now, you're at a level 100, which it can go to infinite numbers, and you look like a nut to them because they can't even understand the concept of what you're saying. So you're talking irrelevant psychobabble. when it comes to speaking to them. So really your own tribe are the ones that vibrate with you. When they go up, if they love you, they'll pull you up. If you go up a little bit, you'll pull them up. Don't worry about the rest, because lots of times the spiritual maggots, hate to say it that way, I'm not saying it in a condescending way, but the spiritual maggots, they're going nowhere. They'll be right where they are. Lifetime after looped over lifetime, they'll be there and they'll just be in the mud. Had Not and Sons, how are you, my brother? Good to see you here this morning, which it's still morning for me, okay, but only for a little while as I approach 12 noon at the top of the hour. Got a lot done today, and I said, hey, let me come on out here and talk. I know it's early over there, but I tend to, I want to be early over there, and I want to try as much as I can to get stuff late at night. But we definitely, yes, Soul Tribe, Soul Tribe, Soul Tribe, the Soul Tribe, like Soul Train back in the day, right? Today, right at this moment, I wanted to share a few thoughts on what hit me when I think about Africa's social media cultural degradation. Africa's social media cultural degradation. And it's not just on the continent of Africa. It's melanated people all over this earth who are the original, but whose minds have been hijacked. Mind, body, and soul hijacked and shackled, and we think we're free. Now, why the illustrations on this banner? Well, we see 6 young ladies, well-shaped. I intended it to be that way. They're a little revealed. Traditionalists would not like what they see because of the Western mentality. But on the same token, with African traditions and ceremonies, you'll see sometimes bare-breasted women who you see their bodies, but it's not in the context of the Western mentality, right? I present these images in a way where it's a mockery, because the female form is beautiful. It's lovely. I mean, I'm a man. It's not even just a lust thing. It's just a sight to behold in a respectful way, right? But the way you see the African print outfits, right? It's done in a way, and this was on purpose, and I didn't want to go overboard anymore. It was done in a way to bring about a little bit of sprinkling of lust in the minds of most people. Now, why do I want to do that? Because I want to show the purpose of what social media is doing to the mind of many Africans in the continent and in the diaspora. And what is it doing? Isn't it a good thing? Isn't it bringing knowledge to the people out there where they didn't have communication, instant communication? They can communicate with people all over the world and learn things and better themselves. Oh, by all means. But like I always say, it's just like when you throw out a net to catch fish and you bring in crabs. And what I don't like is the crabs. There's a couple things I want to read off, but I don't know if I'm going to read them off right now. But this is mass mind control that's destructive to us. You see, let's just talk about Africa and the many countries in Africa and the tradition of Africans overall, pretty much what you'd say down through the eons. See, African culture overall, because we know we have tribal disputes and different things, it's not always been peaceful. But compared to the warlike beast that rules the world, of course, it has been. And in recent years and decades, whenever you see fierce tribalism, it's driven by the enemy hiding behind and whispering into the ear of each side because they want to get those resources, right? So this is the thing. Traditionally, and I guess most people overall would agree with me, and I'm not excluding any other people. I'm focusing on us, because you see, we can't really talk about us on others' platforms because it's insulting to them. And I don't see why, because when other people talk about themselves and their issues and their challenges, it's not a problem. But when we talk about it and break things down, it's a problem, right? I don't care if it's a problem for you. Just go up in the corner with the X there in the upper right-hand corner, click it and go somewhere else, and maybe watch a Disney Channel. Maybe that's what you want to see in La La Land. But with most African nations, communities, tribes, whatever you want to call it, the first and foremost thing is family, then community, then God. You can call God different names. We're not here to argue about that. Family, community, and God. A beautiful thing. But so many of us have gotten away from being connected to family, community, and God. Family just doesn't mean your DNA sharers. You have family that do not share the same immediate DNA, but you're close together, like we mentioned earlier, the soul tribe. But it is about the family. It is about the nuclear family and beyond, the extended family. You know, like they say, it takes a whole village, an entire village to raise a child. So that's a concept that brings into focus family. It also brings into focus the continuity of community, because the community, they're built up of families. See? And then you have God, the community that bows down and worships the proper ideologies and different things that we have to honor as set forth by a higher being. It's a beautiful thing. But when I say Africa's social media cultural degradation, there are forces out here that don't like to see that. You see, it's almost like, you know, the story in the Bible when they said Eve bit the apple and the snake, the serpent, tempted and seduced Eve to bite in the apple. Well, the Western world has tempted and seduced Mother Africa into biting the apple. And the apple had to be sweet. You see, there's a sweetness to sin, transgressions against, you know, and again, this is not about religion. This is overall concept, but transgressions against the commands of the universe. Well, okay, you could say you don't believe in a God, right? A supreme being or someone who made you. You can just say, well, I just popped out of nowhere, came into being. As complex as my body is, with all of the systems in my rib cage and circulatory system, digestive system, nervous system, reproductive system, all these different systems, skeletal system, all of these different things just popped up out of nowhere. And we can replicate ourselves into future generations. And we have a system with the sun that feeds the plants, perfectly made for us with fruits. But oh, we just popped up out of nowhere. If you want to be atheist with it, fine. You don't have to agree with me on that. But go to the top of the highest building and tell me you don't believe in the law of gravity set forth by God. Tell me you don't believe in the law of gravity and just jump off and sing R. Kelly's song. I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky. I think about it every night and day. There ain't no God, I'm going to fly away. Eat concrete, because that's what you're going to do real soon. There are laws to this thing. And when you understand family, community, and God, you submit to the laws and you'll be rewarded with a full and prosperous and fruitful life. But we bit into the apple. And the serpent, oh, you know who the serpent is. He came up from Europe, up in them parts in the caves, right? Is that hate speech? No, that's fact. That's where you come from, right? Well, that serpent convinced us in many ways before to submit to what they call their law, the law of doing what it is that you want to do. And you didn't really want to do it, right? But you started to do certain things following behind that demon. And that's why our families, communities, and our gods are not acknowledged by us anymore, for the most part, because we're in different levels of transgression. And the bottom line, we are suffering for it and don't even realize, because the sin that they offer to us, the apple they offer to us, is too sweet. We just can't let it go. You know, when you have somebody in your life and you get with them and you're in a relationship somewhat with them, you think it's committed and you get into it deep, you get into the love and the sexuality and you get hooked, you get whipped. How do they say it? Your nostrils are open. And you realize that they're not really for you, that what they were doing to you and with you behind closed doors in the bedroom took over your mind because it felt so good. Now you conjure up the strength to get rid of them. You have to get away from this person because everything else that they do is destructive, but you just can't let go because that thing is a crack pipe. I'm not saying it's a crack pipe, but that thing is more intense than a crack pipe, I would say. And guess what? You break up with them. You try to get away from them. You consciously know that you can't be around this entity. But 2 o'clock in the morning when they call, you let them on in because you just can't let go of that thing. And that's how we are with the sins of the serpent. That's how we have been mind controlled to get away from putting first, of course, ourselves. We have to take care of ourselves and do self-care. But family, community, and God. We are derailed. How is a derailed train going to find itself back on the track unless they adhere to the principles of getting back on the track and letting the people put them back on the track? But we got to put ourselves back on the track. We're not going to go anywhere. We're not going to have a fulfilling life if we don't put ourselves back on the righteous track of family, community, and God. I say God is a shortened version of higher. If you want to say Yahshua, if you want to say the Most High, whatever you want to say. Because whatever it is that made us is so much higher than us, I don't think there's enough letters in the alphabet to even pronounce who and what it is. I'm just thankful for this experience. So I'm saying all this to say this. Africa's social media cultural degradation. There's melanated people all over the planet. We have been under attack. Under attack. Well, there's an allegory, Al-Kabbalah man, just to say the story that we all know or know of. I'm just going with that. We can frame it in any way, you know. And yeah, I'm going to put up your comment because this show is not just to come against the story. It was just an example. Do some research on that story and get the truth. By the way, if the apple is so forbidden, how come the apple's a fruit to keep you healthy? We understand that. We have to look past that because we're trying to make a point here. I'm not trying to say it's actually happening. I just brought it up because you know what? You might know that, but a lot of other people don't know that. So we have to speak to people. I'm not going to come here and talk to people who already know because you can jump behind the microphone and give just as much of a good monologue as I'm an amateur with this thing. I'm just the guy that likes to talk. But I'm trying to reach people who may not know these things for the point of making the next points coming up. That's how I build up. You never come out the first round and try to land a knockout blow. You learn what the opponent's doing. You learn their rhythm. You pepper them with different shots. You feint a little bit to see their reaction to what you do. And you formulate a plan down in the third, fourth, fifth, sixth round, down the stretch as you add up points strategically. And you also have to remember that YouTube is watching. Am I scared? I'm not scared of them. But I want to still be here. I don't want to walk out on the battlefield. And I know that you all who are here have my back. But out of 117,000 subscribers, very few people have my back. Very few people support the channel. Very few people even click the like button. You see what I mean? So I'm not going to be so foolish and say, yes, everybody, let's go gung-ho and just drive ourselves down on the battlefield, down the throat of the enemy. Because I might be the only one doing it with the handful of people who are here. You see what I mean? So exactly, YouTube has many monitoring spirits that talk righteous and go right on back. You see what he said? You need to knock his channel for that. You see? So you have to be shrewd in the fight. Because every time the water in the corner of a boxer gets poisoned, it's because somebody on that boxer's team was compromised and slipped a few extra dollars. And I know that for a fact. It never stopped happening. It's always happening. So that's how I operate under that cloud. But back to the point, Africa's social media cultural degradation. Okay? We bit the apple. We bit the serpent's apple. And we can turn that story around and say, we're biting the apple now. We're biting the GMO apple. We're biting the spiritual GMO apple. We're biting the physical GMO apple. We're biting the mental GMO apple. Ain't nothing good about the GMO apple at all. I think we all would agree on that. So to add a little addendum to that, let's look at it that way so we can move on. Anyway, bottom line is we got away from the original. And again, I'm going to say it the last time, family, community, and God. We got away from it. And so this is what it is. The bottom line, We're being seduced on social media. We're biting into that spiritual, mental, and physical GMO apple, and it tastes real good. They even give you opportunities to make money from biting into that apple. But biting into that GMO apple of social media, it's gotten us away from family, community, and God. We're becoming unraveled, and like that train who jumped the track, we're derailed. And when you're a derailed train, you can't go anywhere. You can't move forward, to the delight of your enemy, who laughs at you now because you gave up something so precious. You gave up something so strong, so mighty, that it connected you to this universe on a divine level. For their cheap little trinkets and cheap little sugary treats that gives you spiritual diabetes, spiritual cancer, and eats you up. You can't even maintain and retain the information in your DNA to pass it on to the next generation. They get us with fear to take shots that sterilize us. They put ads out so that we can lust after synthetic things to put in our body to damage us. And we're working out of our mind. So like I said, I put these images up. They're very sexy images, but this is not how we should really parade our sisters around with that mindset. Like I said before, you'll see on TikTok traditional African ceremonies where women are bare-breasted and nobody's looking at them in a sexual manner because the breast has been sexualized in the Western world. So even something so life-giving, something so good, something so nourishing has been sexualized and taken out of context. We see the beautiful shapes these sisters have, but the hips are wide for childbearing reasons and purposes. And men in Africa traditionally have found that to be very attractive because he's about family, community, and God. Even the atheist who says he doesn't believe in God, when he's driving a vehicle and he realizes as he crosses over the intersection, as he has the green light and somebody else runs the light, even the atheist will turn around and say, oh, God. Even when the atheist is enjoying the physical attributes of his woman at the point of orgasm, even the atheist, that thing is so good, he'll say, oh, God, that was a joke. But I want to tell you some things that maybe we didn't realize, and I found out. All I am doing is just sharing things that I find. I'm not the cure-all and end-all of all. I'm not here to roll around in the dirt with anybody. I'm just here to share what I learned so we can all elevate each other. Because just like I said earlier before, when you're vibing on a certain level and you have a soul tribe, you care for that soul tribe because you're about family, community, and God. So anything you have, you want to share with them, right? So if the crops have been destroyed and there's a little food here, I'm not going to go into my hut and just eat by myself and peek out and just laugh at everybody else and say, ha, 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 you all are hungry. I'm going to come out, I'm going to share what I have, and the Creator will bless us to be full. And I hopefully with others who share and others who have shared with me generously, I thank you. So I have to continue doing what it is that I do from the heart. And I thank you for that. But this is something I learned. I'm not going to say a school is in, but pens and pencils and paper, please. China, the creator of TikTok. China, who came up with this thing so brilliant in a wicked way. China created TikTok. And they watched other social media platforms as they were formulated over the years. And we know Asians and Chinese especially are the biggest people to emulate, to duplicate, to copy from the original, tweak it and make it a little better and make it a little cheaper. And this is what they did with TikTok. A lot of energy went into TikTok. If you look at the middle part of this banner, you'll see a faded TikTok logo right there. I didn't do that by chance. Well, why didn't I put Facebook? Why didn't I put Twitter or X? And why didn't I put YouTube? We can put all of those things in there because those were the precursor to the deadly effect of TikTok in Africa and melanated people. Because they give you little bites of the apple. And how do they do that? Well, here's a fact. I may not articulate it like other people have, but I've heard this several times and I've done a little research on it. We got 2 TikToks, y'all. Did you know that? We got 2 TikToks, y'all. 2. One for China and one for the rest of the world. And the one for the rest of the world, the focus is on Africa, which tells me basically melanated people, because they know the rest of the world went to hell. You see what I mean? You know, it's obvious to me. And how do I know this? Because China, their algorithms in their TikTok for China, for those in China, you are not going to see the decadence, degradation, and the foolishness going on their platforms, on that TikTok platform for China. For the rest of the world, the algorithms are different. They allow the decadence because they want you to be caught up in that. You see? You see, a woman is not sinful as she's created. A man is not sinful. They always smile, oh, you're born into sin and whatnot. No. This world, this engineered world, is the sin that we're born into. A woman as she is and a man as he is, and he loves her and they get together and make children. That's a beautiful thing. There's nothing wrong with that. But the TikTok algorithms allow more so African women, because African men aren't going to sit there and twerk unless they're part of the LGBTQ community. And that's coming soon too, more so. But you know that in many places in Africa, the economies may be a little distressed and challenged, right? By design. There's so many resources there underfoot that many who are in Africa can benefit from, but other people come on in, and with the permission of the leaders that are there, after being coerced with lots of money and education in other places, which is indoctrination, they sell you out. So you're living in the richest place in the whole wide world, but they want to make it seem so poor. If the people up top in the engineered system did right, you wouldn't have to be so broke there. And there is money there. And there are people making money there, right? But the bottom line is you find yourself in need of money. You see what the world is going on with, sister. You see that beautiful backside that you have, little waistline, pretty face, teeth, and some nice hair growing. You don't need any of these artificial products. And you see a need, which is an unrighteous need, a vortex that pulls you in, a black hole that sucks you in, a whirlpool that pulls you in. And you say to yourself, wow, if I can create a TikTok page, if I can get myself out there, maybe, just maybe, I can make a little money. So it's visual prostitution. You're sharing the beauty of your form for these lustful parasites. And many of us brothers are that and have been turned into that. I'm not just saying it's just one particular race. It's become now everybody. And it's permeated into the psyche of us. Instagram is no different. It's online prostitution, visual and actual prostitution. Because I've been approached on TikTok, I can tell you, out here in the motherland, because I have a few things that are up on TikTok. And some of the young ladies have let me know pretty much I can visit you for X amount of dollars. I'm going to tell you, or CDs, whatever the money is in that particular country. Can you fly me in? Listen, sisters, I don't have it like that. And if I did, I would not be flying you in for anything like that. But I'm witnessing this. And they become very shrewd because of the need for money and the disconnect from family, community, and God. And this is a way of softening us up like hamburger helper, meat tenderizer, because we're so caught up in looking for getting our bag, which is the most important thing to many of the people who are on there. And we're looking for that, but we're not looking toward unity with each other to deal with the gifts that we've been given underfoot of the resources that the world needs and wants. So this is mind control. This is mind control to take our minds away from getting together, getting these leaders up out of there, because they're not really leaders at all. They're just representatives of the enemy in blackface. They can speak your language, but most of them have been educated far abroad in the enemy's countries. But they come here as someone who's connected to you to sway you one way. Unbelievable. As a footnote, which basically is off topic, I just want to say this: Starlink, which is in Nigeria, and I think it's in Rwanda, Nigeria, and one other country, right? Starlink. I was looking forward to it coming here. I mean, it's affordable as far as internet, the fastest. It's by low-level satellites, and they're supposed to be here next year. But Ghana, the government of Ghana, is resisting it somehow. And they have their little ways of resisting and slowing things down. So you can see where the leaders are working for someone else. Yes, Elon Musk is the one who invented it, but it is a technology that we can use independently, because if you ask me, the people who are in place here with internet services, they're compromised and they're in bed with the leaders. So these so-called leaders don't want something independent coming through a satellite that they can't stop. Understand that. So there's a lot of things. The eyes are on Africa, but they're telling you that this place is no good. We're walking around in dirt. There's no food over there. We walk around in squalor. Everybody got AIDS and there's nothing there. But they're over here living good in the countryside, on the countryside. The soil is the richest soil. Look down sometime and see specks of gold. Yeah, it's the closest thing to heaven, but they have your mind turned against it. But they want it. And like they say, Minister Farrakhan said, a nation can rise no higher than the condition of its woman. So if our sisters here are turned into those who have a harlot mentality, as the political leaders have harlot mentalities to sell the people out, then we're really going to go down for a crash unless we wake up. And they don't aim after the 60-year-olds and the 70-year-olds, although there are some grannies out here shaking their chops to the delight of those who like, aged stuff. Granny porn. Nothing wrong with that. If you're with your woman and she's 70 and you around that age, and get it on. Wop, wop, wop. Let's get it on. But that's what you do behind closed doors. So now, the psyche of many of our sisters here in this country and all over Africa, I hate to say it, I'm not saying all, hopefully it's the minority, but they have a harlot mentality. And many of them, and the brothers who cough up the money to enjoy their derriere delights, they've fallen into this cycle that we're not focused on what we are supposed to be focused on as a nation. And I say nation of melanated people, because we could say the nation of Ghana, the nation of... No, it's all one. Who made these boundaries over here anyway? Who drew the line? Who drew the line? Nigerian, you're Ghanaian. Black people, melanated people, copper color, whatever you want to call it. Thick lip, wide nose people, which is a wonderful thing. Want no pointy beak on nobody. Sisters getting nose jobs and bleaching their skin. They're trying to turn themselves into something that they're not. Well, why would you want to be that? And you got the other enemy looking at you. And okay, when I say these sisters on the banner are beautiful, I'm not saying it out of lust. I could say that. But they're just beautiful as they are. And the other despises you for that, for your natural curves. And you think you're too big. You think your nose is too wide. You think your lips are too full. That's a beautiful thing. The strong features that our sisters have that are exotic. They ain't exotic any other place other than here. My black sister, the skin, look at the complexion. We're not talking lust. You go on a car lot and you look at the new models of the car. Oh, look at the paint job. Look at the rims. Wow, the engine sounds good. I'm not comparing them to a mere materialistic creation, because it's a divine creation, and they want to degrade you into thinking that all you have to offer is just the lower levels of your being. That's a damn shame. That's a damn shame. and you think that that's all you are. So kudos to the sisters out here who have integrity. I take my hat off to you, because the mind control coming against us, as China has engineered the algorithms of TikTok to just run wild in Africa and for all melanated people. And some people are going to say, well, what about us? We're victim to it too. Well, y'all been nasty. Y'all been the leaders of decadence. You've been trying to degrade us. So that's help for you, to help to do what you already started to do. I'm not excusing any one of you. China's a new player in the whole thing. They don't give no regard for us. They want Africa for themselves. They don't want Africans to have Africa. They want to have Africa. They already know where they live. Ain't no resources up there. They need this place. So they have to work on your mind, and over time, generation after generation. See, they're not going after people in my age group. And some of the people in my age group are damn foolish too. The bottom line is that they're going to go after the younger ones. As long as they can see you twerking and jumping around and kiki-keying, and as soon as music come on, here you go bending over, showing your backside. It's a beautiful thing, but now it doesn't have a good taste to it anymore, because there's nothing up top in your head. Your ass cheeks mean nothing if you can't intellectualize, have a conversation, be an independent thinker, have some kind of integrity and decency to you. Do you see fruit peeled walking around or hanging on the tree? You got to work to peel the fruit to get to the sweetness of it. And the sweetness of a black woman is not just what's between her legs and in her backside. It's right up in her head. That's why I always say on adult level, I hate to say it this way, but I always say it. Good head ain't good head unless a person got something damn in their head. You got to have something in your head for good head to be head. Good head. Good head ain't good head if it's an idiot. If it's just friction. Let's be real. Let's talk about it. So you want to strip away to the sweetness of the woman, but it's not worth anything when you take away the nutritional element of the woman. And like again, Farrakhan said, a nation can rise no higher than the state of its woman. And TikTok from way over there in China has given us this thing, and we're eating it up because there are no real teachers to make them understand that that's something that you need to stay away from. It's very stimulating. It is made to be hard to get off of. It is one of the worst ones. Facebook was going in that direction, right? They had a sky blue and a little white. And every time you see that little red alert to say that, well, somebody responded to something you commented on or a post that you put up, and it was like a rush of dopamine to go click that thing. Click, 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 click. Internet arguments on Facebook for weeks and months at a time that never died. You arguing with a stranger when you could be debating yourself on what the best move is to elevate your life. But we don't do that. We fall right into the victim or as a victim. So yeah, I want to say this one thing. Mind control is subverting by means of psychological tactics an individual's control of his or her mind, thinking, behavior, emotions, or decisions, of which hypnosis is one acknowledged technique to facilitate it. Mass hypnosis and brainwashing, right? Brainwashing is the concept that the human mind can be altered or controlled by certain psychological techniques. It's not by chance that this thing blasts us. Men caught up on the lust factor. There's so many beautiful African sisters out here. You click on one, they're shaking it up. You click on another one, they're showing themselves a different way. I know brothers that have lost their mind, and just because of TikTok, they're in America. Man, I want to come out there to Africa. Well, why you want to come out here? I mean, you can do it as a brother. You belong out here, right? You need a connection out here. No, man, I be seeing them honeys, man. Oh my God. So what you think is going to be a little easier, right? To come out here and pick the fruit that's just out here, right? So you're driven by something that's not righteous. Cultural degradation. You ain't coming over here to build. You coming over here because you find that you can have 5 wives. What you think? You take one off of this band and there's 6 of them. They say, so you got 5 of them laying up in the bed. What you gonna do with 5 of them? What you gonna do? You can't even handle the one you got. You can't even take care of the one you got. A lot of times you don't even have enough wisdom to share with the one you got. And you want 5 bodies up next to you for what? They can't learn nothing from you. And you can't handle them in the bedroom and all 5 of them. What you, man, it's so crazy. Our minds, and we understand the sweetness that can come with that, but we have to earn it as men. We have to earn it. We have to earn it. We got to become worthy enough. We have to have enough wisdom. The women will come. I don't mean women like you want, but on the African traditional level, for some, there's more than one, but you better have enough wisdom. Or the woman will come also, depending on your ideology. But it's all over the world. So all of us not going to get it. Because like I said, if you're vibrating at level 100 on an unlimited scale, which that's low compared to millions, but that's just to make it simple. Those who are vibrating on the 1 level or 2 level, put it this way, they ain't never going to get it. They ain't never going to get it. Never going to get it, never going to get it, never going to get it, woo, woo, woo. What a waste of life. If you cannot elevate your thinking to where your life gets much easier because of the conscious decisions that you made to vibrate higher. And when you vibrate higher, just like when you go up in a plane, you can see so much more. When you look down and you say, whoa, the issues that I had, they're so small. Look at the big shopping center that takes me a long time to walk through. I'm in a plane looking down on it, and it's just like something so small. And you begin to see over the horizon. You see you're going up into the clouds. And you're like, wait a second, my issues are not that bad at all. But we have to learn how to think for each other and think with each other and see each other as a collective. We shouldn't have to wait to go up in a plane to see the overall. We need to step back and understand what is happening with us. Cause and effect. Why are we like this? Why are all women want to run around half naked like it's some achievement? Like I say, ladies who do this, is that all you have to offer? It should be much more in your mind that you have to offer. You're bringing in the next generation, the next generations, rather. In your head, as a mother, you convey certain things to the child. Not even just in your head, just being. From your head, when a child is in your womb, your thoughts are their thoughts. What you eat goes into them, and they are prioritized with it. If you're going through something, or if you're becoming an idiot, thinking that it's innocent while you're pregnant to get into the TikTok thing, well, guess what? I hate to say it this way, but I say it for effect. Idiot mama, idiot child. Stupid mother, stupid child. We get insulted when we hear talk like this, but so many people the world over think we're stupid, and they think we're idiots. And by the way we act, this is how we are seen, because we follow this thing like the Pied Piper. All you got to do is drop a new fad, drop a new way of doing things, and we eat it up and become the face of it. And they put us on all the magazines and put us on all the videos, the Saucy Susans of the world. Saucy Susan, or Saucy Santana, I'm sorry. I said, might as well be Saucy Susan, right? Might as well be. Encouraging our black men to hang up their manhood and go to be some male, effeminate male that will never be effective in his community, never be effective to leave a legacy in energy put out to the world that will go on before his natural life here after it ends. So what's the purpose? It's the mind control. And they don't even have to go to Africa to drop bombs. They don't want to drop bombs in Africa, the physical Africa, because they want those resources. So they got to get the people that are there to cancel each other out. How is it that homosexuality is growing here? I see it. Year by year, I haven't been here 50 years. I've been here 39 months. And before that, a year before I first came here permanently, I was here for 3 weeks. It was so different. I can see it because there's certain things I look for. When I scan the world in a very detailed way. I saw some people that when I came back, oh man, they put on a little weight. This one lost a little weight. Oh, you had a baby? This one had a baby? You know what I mean? Little things. And on the down low, brother, stuff, oh man, that thing is growing here and it's being pushed, but it's being resisted on certain levels, but it's not strong enough. Many of the people here are just too docile. I'm saying it, they too docile. As long as they go sit up in the church house all day and look after the white Jesus, they ain't gonna challenge nothing. Anything that they suggest to you, we should be the strongest, not just in our bodies. We got some strong brothers and sisters out here. We got sisters who could be in on the farm with a machete chopping stuff down and probably squat down and have a baby and stand up, lay down a little bit and get back up before the day's over and start working again. I've damn near seen it. We don't have that anymore. We are weak physically, mentally, spiritually, with no resolve. And again, we've abandoned what Africans the world over. Because even if you don't claim Africa, but you're black and you're melanated, since the whole planet is Africa, you can't get away. You can claim everything else, but you can't get away. You can't get away from that wide nose and those beautiful thick lips. Okay? You can go knock it in and get a plastic surgery and lie to yourself, but you can't change your DNA. You can't change the texture of your hair permanently. Imagine that. Imagine somebody sells a permanent relaxer for the hair and says, I'm charging $20,000 for it. You'll never have to get relaxing cream for your hair ever again. Man, there'll be people dropping that Toyota Corolla money just for that. This is how it grows out. I have this in my bloodline and that. No, you bought that thing. That's what it is. That's what it is. It's amazing what we've been degraded into, and TikTok is the most fierce of all social media platforms. You can enter and proceed with caution. You can use it for a good thing, right? Get in and get out. But you got to know what you're doing. Don't be seduced. Don't let that serpent make you bite the GMO apple. Have you out here with GMO spirituality, GMO physicality, and a GMO mentality? It will work on you. You must have limited exposure. It's like when you go to get x-rays. You can't be exposed to this thing too much. It's a good thing to see what's going on in your body, but you have to have limited exposure. You can't be exposed to this thing too much. You have to know what it is you're doing before you go in on this thing. Don't just sit there with idle time. And don't let your children absorb this stuff. Let them absorb the wholesome stuff first. Let them see what life is really all about first. That's a toxic pacifier, that smartphone you give to them. And they're smarter than us. They don't even need to read the instructions. You charge that phone up and you hand it to them with no instructions. They operate in the bad boy in 5 minutes. And you asking them. And they're 8 years old, hand it to you. Yeah, mommy. Yeah, daddy, this is what you do to operate this phone. With no instructions. They're so intuitive, but their brilliance is being used against them. And they know this. They know every subsequent generation that comes out of our loins is going to be a little smarter than us. This is why the prior way of raising children in this engineered toxic world is never effective enough. We'll say, oh, well, I was raised this way and I turned out good, but it's a whole different creature out here right now. We're up against a whole lot of different things right now. And your little innocent son and daughter who might talk to you a certain way, mommy this and mommy that. They throw that little tone on you, but they've been exposed already. If you send them to these schools, the other children that are there have helped to expose them to things that they should not know right now. We want to be their friends so much. When are we going to man up and woman up and be parents? You don't have to like me. I'm going to raise you the right way. I'm not trying to be your friend. That's lots of times when we end up breaking up with our mate who we hand the child with, we try to make up and we feel guilty and we try to be their friend also. We don't want to come down too hard on them because they have one parent. No, you got to be twice as strong, twice as focused. If they don't like you for the righteous things that you do for them, they will think you're doing this to me, but you know that you're doing this for them because that world is so wicked out there, ready to devour them, ready to have them turned out. Oh, I can't, I'm not going to say I can't wait because I don't want to see it. But if you understand what I'm trying to say, could you imagine what the world, not even 20 years from now, not even 10 years from now, 5 years from now, the world is moving so fast. Could you imagine the level of decadence that we have out here? Because really and truly, if you look at these young ladies on the banner, right, just approximately, it wouldn't shock you if they said they were less than 22 years old. And this is 2023. So you mean they were born around the time of 9/11? That was the other day when you have a certain amount of decades under your belt. So they coming in, and we don't see this. A child born, what is it now? 2000, we're ending 2023, right? Let's just say it's 2023, even though we're at the last month of 2023. So somebody born in the economic collapse in America in 2008, they're 15 years old now. 15 years old. Without the proper training, they can get somebody pregnant or become pregnant. And it makes you a grandmother. Either way. You see this happening faster and faster. But what I'm saying is that we've always had pregnancies, younger age, and different things. But it was a different place at that time. Like I said, family, culture, community, God. Family, community, and God. We're so disconnected from that right now. You have to teach them how to have a counterattack against the things that are coming into their mind and being introduced directly, like a direct shot. A direct shot. And we don't even understand what that means. I used to do bodybuilding. I never did steroids. But just to give you an analogy on how this direct shot relates to that, you had guys that took pills, took Dianabol and took Anavar and took Winstrol. These are names of steroids back in the day, and they're still around. Well, you take the oral steroids. It has to process through your body. It has to go through your liver. And that's why those who insisted on taking these types of substances in the oral form, it went through their liver and they had sickness and it cut their bodybuilding career short. And then when you had the injectables, it bypasses synthetic form of testosterone, bypass the liver, so it's not damaging them in the same way. You take a shot and you good. So this thing is not something that is in a pill form where you can see the damage to you immediately. It goes straight to their brains, straight to the brains of the youngsters that are out here acting like grown folks. You got young girls who are developing at 15 and 16 years old, and they end up going into the club. They look like grown women, and they do a few things to get inside. And they're standing up in the corner, and grown men are like predators. They don't even know that they're this way, but they know they're real young, but they don't care. Degradation is not just a physical thing and the physical lust. It's in your spirit. It's what you walk around full of. But you can smile and say holy words and act as though you're a man of God or a holy man, but you got the most decadent desires inside your heart. If you're attracted to a sister, that's one thing. If you have thoughts in your mind, but you appreciate everything about her and see how she can fit into your life as a wife, and maybe you can fit into her life as a husband, and that's her choice. That's a righteous thing because it's natural. So all I'm saying is that don't go against the natural because of all the decadence out here. Enjoy the natural. The natural is the best. But the way they got things now, it's going straight to the brain. And a lot of these children are waking up in a sorry state of affairs because in this modern society where you need money to navigate, it's not easy like back in the day, either down in the South or back in the motherland, even today now. The further away from the bigger cities, the easier it is. but you're not going to have the cell phone signal. You're not going to have the amenities. But you can have child after child after child after child. And guess what? There's so much food around. There's so much family around. There's so much community around. That is no problem. You can be fruitful and multiply. You don't have to go, oh God, she's pregnant. I didn't mean for her to get pregnant. Oh, how are we going to afford this child? You're thinking that because you are away from the natural resources that you once had in abundance. So now you're stressed because you're playing a game that's stacked against you. You're playing a game that's against family, community, and God. Ain't that something? But we run into that because we want the shiny baubles and trinkets and rubies that this wicked enemy has for us. But we let them take from us underfoot and dangle it in front of us like it didn't come from us. We have all this rice over here that we grow. But why do we have to import rice from somewhere else? We have all the gold here. They used to call Ghana the Gold Coast. But why all of a sudden we want to buy stuff in America and it came from here underfoot? We are sick, and we're going to see new levels. I hate to say it. I'm like the weatherman today, and I predict not much that's good if we keep on the same trajectory. So those you can save, save. Those you can protect from the mental indoctrination of TikTok on our minds and on the minds of our children. It's hard enough as somebody older to navigate this thing. I've been on social media a long time. And in a way, I can't wait to evolve because it's going in a direction that is not even good anymore. It used to be something a little better once social media came on, but I mean the internet in general, the message boards and the groups and even the old Black Planet, man, I miss those days. You had so many cultured people, wise people sharing information, but you know, the enemy sees that and says, oh no, oh no. You're not going to grow beyond the schools of indoctrination. You're not going to help to teach each other your oral history and bring up facts and show things that we didn't tell you. No, 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 no. We're going to use this to poison you. We're going to poison you. Yes, we are. And like you said, yes, the gig is up. The gig is up. I'm going to wrap it down soon. I'm going to come back another time today. I started out early and I want to keep going, but I want to enjoy a little bit of the sun that I can't really get anywhere else in this world because this is 0 latitude and 0 longitude, and it must mean something that the enemy made it that way. They carved up this land, but trust me, you know, there's a lot of mysterious things that they don't want us to know. They have our sisters out here and the brothers. You know, the brothers can't help it. The sisters are beautiful, but even brothers, you're going to have to show some restraint. What comes easy is not always good. You have to work for the good thing. You have to work for that woman's love. You have to work for it, not in a fraudulent way. But the fruit is not peeled for you when you put it in your hand. You got to peel it. You got to work to get to the sweetness. You got to work to get to the seeds. You got to work to get to the womb. Just don't pop up and all of a sudden you see all this stuff in your face. It's sweet. Yes, it is. But it's too much. You got to unwrap that thing over time to get to the sweetness. And when you earn it, you'll appreciate it more. That's why you can't stay with one. You see one, you deal with one, you see another one because it's right there, peeled for you. That's the lure of GMO watermelon, that you don't have to deal with the seeds, but you're dealing with something when you eat the GMO watermelon with no seeds that has no life. You got to keep coming back and get more and more drained because you got to give all your money to the oppressor who made it GMO, and you can't grow these things in your own yard. Nature is free. Nature gives you everything that you need freely. The engineered world doesn't. And it's engineering how we see each other to pull us away from family, community, and God. That's how I started out, and that's how I'm going to wrap this thing up. I will be back. I love you all. Take care. I hope you got something out of my words. And maybe not, but I'm doing my part. That's all I can do for the time that I'm here on this planet. So just want to say I'll be back in a few hours. Like, share, and subscribe and all that good stuff. If not, well, you know, take the energy and share it elsewhere. That's all I can do. Thank you for your support. LANCESCURV.